is it still relevant? Is it still the thing you should do in terms of digitalization? And it's become very apparent that it is. And regardless of COVID-19, that will come, it's here, and it will go. Digitalization is a powerful thing for the future for all organizations.
Hello, welcome to MTech Podcast. My name is Nikolai Shitikhin, and I have Jim Johnston as my one and only and favorite co-host here. Hi, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm doing real good, Nick. And you?
I'm doing wonderful. Are you ready for today's podcast?
I sure am.
Yeah, as you know that we are answering questions on our podcasts, and last episode we've been answering questions that were coming from our customers. And today we're going to discuss a very big question that is coming from the industry in general. Today we're going to discuss digitalization, digital revolution, and so on, whatever you want to call it. So how do we transform business in this digital era? And this topic was really, really popular a couple years back and still trending. But with the modern situation in the world, Jim, how do you think, is it still relevant? Should companies still consider transforming their business into digital?
Yeah, Nick, it's a really, really interesting area and a very pertinent question. We find ourselves in very, very challenging times at the moment in the industry globally, trying to respond to the challenges created by COVID-19. And they pose additional challenges of staff working from home, of how do you access data, how do you allow staff to work successfully, keep the business running when they're all in their home offices or working from home. So accessibility to data is a key thing. It's been a key challenge over the last few weeks. And how do we keep the analysis going? How do we keep people building reports? How do we keep the show on the road? And some interesting stories that some of our customers and some of the integrators here in the UK been challenging themselves to look at how can they do just that. Everybody working from home, right. All the finance department or all the planning team working from home. How do they access data and how do they keep the show on the road? So that whole COVID-19 has created additional challenges, and it shows really the importance of keeping your data in a central hub and then allowing accessibility from wherever you are in the world to that central database so that you can continue to do your job from home. That's certainly a big benefit of digitalization, and it's been seen in this the last 2 months or so when we've all been in lockdown here in the UK.
All right. Yeah. And I see the struggle. I think that the whole world and a whole bunch of companies are going through the very same thing. And the companies that don't have digital support in their business probably struggling a little bit more because of the documents are in different places, data recording in one place, reporting in another place. And for the companies that doing a lot of things digital, it's still a struggle because they used to be all in the same office and they can ask questions from one another and see how do you look at this data, how do I look at this report. But now it takes more data literacy sort of thing that people would need to know how to read more data and more reports and do more analysis by themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it also comes back to multitasking and upskilling your team so that they can perform different functions and can. So if you've got people off sick or away from the business, there's others that can step up and still do these tasks. And that's again where it's important to have a common system. So one system that you can train people on that's familiarity across different functions, and they can understand their way around the system. It's really, really important. And of course, that's what a lot of digitalization would bring to your business. Standardization, common practices, the ability to train people easier in different disciplines.
Yeah, and I guess people would need to be a little bit more independent in what they're doing. They would need to be responsible for data, for example, data collecting. They would be able to analyze that data and they will be able to make some sort of decisions on the spot while they're somewhere on the field or in their home office, or when we come back to new normal in their regular working place, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, and you kind of, you got to break down. In a lot of businesses, certainly I've worked in, if you don't have a good common system and one basic processes, then you effectively operate in the business in little silos. People go away and individually do things. They have their own spreadsheets. They have their own way of doing reports, and you don't get a common. In fact, you don't get discipline around any of that. And you're very reliant on individuals to do their job on their spreadsheet that they've built over the last 10 years. And so you need to smash all of that. You got to get that away, and you've got to start having a common system that creates discipline from data capture through to how you use that data in the business.
Right. And you touched a really important topic in here, that any change, any transformation, and especially digital transformation, first of all, is a change of a culture for a company in general and for all the people. Of course, every company is in their own stage of digital maturity, right? Somebody is already using some systems, somebody is still using pen and pencil. So everybody is on their certain stage, but if you really want to go digital all the way, then it's a very big step for individuals and for the companies, because you got to think a little bit differently. You cannot only rely on what you've been doing, but you need to change. And change is always very, very hard.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. And part of the things that holds companies back really is, in a way, is how we built the industry over many, many years. And people have been doing their own thing, and Excel was great. It helped the businesses do that. And they build a lot of tools to help people do their job and take some shortcuts and do it easier and more efficiently. But now these are all kind of independent islands and silos within the business. So changing the culture is one of the challenges when you go to digitalization. It's really kind of centralizing that database and it's putting on a common system. So you can get defensive responses from some of the people that have been there a while. Change is difficult, and it is a cultural change. But in that cultural change, you're also challenging the way things are done, challenging everything from data capture, how you do that, when the reports are issued, and challenging the processes in your business too.
Yeah, and those processes, once you change them, especially when we talk about digitalization and data, it brings a lot of transparency to the processes and to the data, right? So you're not only showing what's happening in the business in terms of numbers, but you're also showing what's happening in business in each stage of it.
Yeah, I think it's really, really important. If you look back in my career where we've done that really well in businesses, business really enhanced performance and improved the speed at which you improve, become more efficient, become more competitive, cost of production wise, and become more successful really as an organization. So that really generates significant bottom line improvement for many, many businesses. Small and large businesses.
Yeah, of course. And also, since we're living in the 21st century, transparency is really important, and many customers are deciding on what to buy based on what they know on how the product been produced, how it's been raised, what type of materials been used to produce this product. And this brings whole another level to the systems and to the data that is stored under business structures, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's really, really important nowadays that you have that We talk about audit and the ability to audit businesses, but it's like transparency on where did your raw materials come from? Where did they go? Which farms? Which chickens ate them? You're talking about certification, quality control marks that are now more and more to the fore. You have to be able to improve or prove your status, and having a really strong database with traceability built into it allows you to make these audits and qualification for these various quality marks, like Red Tractor in the UK, for example, or Q-Mark in Uganda, or more and more of these organizations. You have to prove that you prove it by data, and you prove that traceability by data. So it's a key system, really, in terms of making it easier to deliver data that qualifies you in terms of these quality control marks, quality assurance schemes, and certification around the world.
Yeah, that's big. We're talking about huge amounts of data from the field, data from accounting, data from fields again, and houses, and all of that is happening all the time. A lot of data transferring back and forth, and it can be challenging to gather all the data, store all the data, and even go through all the data. So years ago, it was a big problem to start something like digital transformation, simply because it would take a lot of resources. You would need a lot of hardware, software, you need servers, you need maintenance. And nowadays, with cloud solutions, that problem pretty much been eliminated, right? You can start very small on the cloud. Then if you need more horsepower, then you can, with a couple of clicks, you can scale and you have all the horsepower you need. And you don't need to worry about maintenance. You don't need to worry about backups, security. All that is sorted. All you need to do, make sure that you have a strong processes and you handle the culture change.
Absolutely. And the other really interesting thing it allows you to do, you mentioned cloud and the ability of the cloud to handle and crunch large chunks of data. And that's really relatively new for the industry, and allows us now to be talking about how do we really connect up all the data, that we have in real time. So right into poultry houses, looking at temperature, looking at humidity, CO2, feed intake, water intake, bird growth in real time, and bringing that up into a cloud solution, but then also allowing the rest of your planning and forecasting tools, for example, to utilize that data. Or even more exciting now is looking at artificial intelligence. How do we analyze it? How do we really understand what's the right breed and feed and equipment and management techniques for our birds, whether breeders or broilers or commercial layers? What is right, and what works best in our situation. So the ability to expose now all of that granularity of data, that great quantity of data, and add to it now in terms of real time. So you're not just analysing end of cycle results, we're actually doing it now during the cycle in real time and crunching that data. It's really a fantastic opportunity to do that. And I think it's the way forward.
Yeah, and if you think in the past, like you said, you can only analyze when the cycle is done, when it's already history, you can't change anything. And now if you get the information about all those main KPIs feeding instantly into your reports, into your dashboards and everything, you can make a decision right away and you can change while it's not too late. And that's really the power of the data, of faster data, that it gives you ability to take faster decisions that can save you a lot of money. Absolutely.
That's what it's all about, improving your profitability.
Yeah.
There's great opportunities to do that now. Eh?
Yeah. And, we're talking about all these big things, right? The databases, digital transformation, change of a culture. And it may look like we're talking only about huge companies, right? We talk about big enterprises like vertically integrated that are working multinational. But how do you think, will digital revolution be applied to smaller companies, medium-sized companies, even individual growers? Can they participate in that exciting change that's happening in the world?
Wow, yeah, I mean, I think it's a very good point, but yes, the answer is simply yes. This is the opportunity for growers with maybe 100, 200,000 birds, whatever. Relatively small growers can effectively utilize real-time data capture, real-time analysis, and all these really good, powerful analysis techniques that we can bring nowadays. And so they can benefit significantly. If you look at the age of slaughter of a broiler now, it's like way, way younger than it was when I started in the industry. Eh? And we don't have as much time. So you make a mistake in feeding or water availability or temperature, it's going to impact on performance. These birds are like 30 days, in some countries even younger than that when we're slaughtering them now. And every hour, every minute's precious in terms of how you keep these birds comfortable and performing well. So you need that level of data in real time to be able to start to further improve. And it is very relevant to the smaller farmers just as much as it's to the big guys.
Yeah, because we're operating in the same world, right? And if somebody is still with pen and pencil and I'm with a laser sword, it would be hard to compete because small businesses, they're also very competitive, especially between the growers in certain areas. It's really, really competitive market. So they can use digital revolution and digitalization to their own benefit. So they can have it as an advantage that they are already absolutely in the 21st century.
Absolutely. It's very relevant to them. You got to be better. You got to continue to improve. You got to pick up the genetic improvement you get handed to every year from the genetics companies, and you've got to keep continuous improvement. And one of the ways of doing that, of course, is to utilize your data and to put it in formats to make it easier for you to interpret and make management decisions. And the quicker you can do that, the quicker you can keep that continuous improvement and more rapid improvement going. And we started off this discussion, and it kind of started on COVID-19 and got into that. But, the way we've talked about this going through, and your question right at the start, is it still relevant? Is it still the thing you should do in terms of digitalization? And it's become very apparent that it is. And regardless of COVID-19, that will come, it's here, and it will go. Digitalization is a powerful thing for the future for all organizations.
Yeah, and the companies that can change and switch in harder times, they will be better off when it's all over. And they will be on the next level when it comes to really getting profits and getting money.
Absolutely.
All right, I think
you got it right there, Nick.
Yeah, and I guess we've discussed this big topic. It's been a lot of good inputs, and still, if you or somebody else would like to discuss any questions with us, just send us our way through our website. If you would like to know more about our software, please request a demo through the website, and of course, follow us on all the social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and check out the news on our website.
Thanks a lot, Nick. I look forward to seeing you next week.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Have a good one.
Okay.